All right, I just wanted to show this blown head gasket and the replacement head gasket. It's just basically a 2-inch or an 1.5-inch O-ring, and I'll show you here. Let me see if I can get this in the camera. This is the new one, okay? And it's obviously one solid piece O-ring. This is the one that came out of it. And this didn't happen with me taking it out either. This was already disintegrated here and here on this side. So this was blown in 2 different spots. And let me just show you here. This is the head. You can see the carbon buildup in here as well. It's worse on the piston. But this O-ring just goes in this groove right here, and then that's what seals the compression pressure from going out of the head. Obviously, if you're losing compression pressure, you're losing power. So anyway, I thought I'd show that to you, and I'm really hoping I can get this carbon off of this piston and out of this head. So I'll see if there's a solvent that I can use, and maybe a brass wire brush or something that's not going to scratch it. But I don't know. I'm going to research it, and then I'll get back to you. Okay, so in order to get this piston pin out, I pulled these little tiny snap rings. They're a pain to get out. There's no little eye in them like with a lot of snap rings, so you can't use snap ring pliers. You have to just kind of pry them out with a sharp object, something short enough to fit in. I snapped out the one on this side and figured I could push the pin out from the other side, but it wouldn't push out. So I just snapped the one out of the other side, and I'm hoping I can push it through this way now. You know, it looks like it's going to take a little bit of force. I'll have to find a socket or something that fits in there, and I'll pop that out. And then researching on the internet, I used my headlamp too so I could see what I was doing, but researching on the internet, people use WD-40 as a solvent, and those green scrub pads like you use in the kitchen to scour pots and pans. They're like kind of like a hard fabric-y type plasticky sponge. So I gotta go pick up one of those, but I do have some WD-40 here. And it looks like you spray that on there and it starts to dissolve, and then you scrub it down. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove the piston to do that, and then I'll wash the piston and the cylinder head at the same time with some green scrub pads and WD-40. So the pin is coming out now. I just used the socket that fit. I just found a deep socket that fit in that hole about right, and then I smacked it with the handle of this screwdriver, and it's popping right out, so I'll be able to get that piston out no problem. Okay, so I pulled the cylinder off. This port part is on the top. So when I go to put it back together, I'll just do that. I'll put it on that connecting rod, put that pin back through, and that hole right there goes on the top part. No big deal. And here's the pin. It just pushed right out. Took a tiny bit of force. I think I probably could have pushed that out from the other side without removing that pin if I'd have found, or that snap ring, if I'd have found something that was smaller than the snap ring but still big enough to catch this. Anyway, I pushed it out. So we got that done. So now I'll just clean those up and put everything back together, and it should fly. All right, I've got my cylinder head and piston right there. Lots of carbon on them. I have WD-40 and paper towels and this green scrub pad. So I'm going to spray them with the WD-40 and scrub them, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so the good news is that method with the scrub pad and WD-40 works great for removing carbon buildup, as you can see here. The bad news though, let me see if I can get over the light. Oh man, I don't know if you can see it in the GoPro, but the bad news is the spots, I think you can probably see that, where the head gasket blew. Once I got the carbon out of there, you can see where the metal was actually wore away and made a hole there. So I need a new cylinder head. So I just ordered one from Aerolite, $209 including the shipping. So who knows when that'll get here, but obviously I can't put this back together with a head that has holes in it. The holes go from the cylinder itself to the where the gasket would be. Let me see if I can get a look at that here. I don't know if you can see that. There's one here. It goes clean through to where the gasket goes, and then another one here, right where the ring had blown through. It caused damage to the cylinder head. So clean the carbon up really nice. Doesn't do me any good because I'm gonna have to replace that. So the cylinder is still in good shape. The piston's still in good shape. If I would have needed a new cylinder, that was $675. So thank God I didn't need a new cylinder. The piston and rings were $220, and that doesn't include the shipping on those either. Which I think would be pretty negligible, maybe 20 bucks for both of those items or something. But that would have been like $1,000. So I'm going to replace this head, and then with the gaskets, that was 50 bucks for all those gaskets, and then the head was $209, so $260 fix. And then of course, who knows how long that'll last till that piston finally gives out and the cylinder. But yeah, when that happens, I guess I'll tear it all apart and do it again. All right, when it comes back in, I'll finish this video. All right, I just wanted to show that how clean I got this piston. It was really filthy. And it's probably been a little over an hour I've been scrubbing at this. If I can get the light on it. But it was really coated with carbon on the top of it. I took these rings off. To get it clean. This is the one that came off the top, and it was oriented like that. There's little pins in here that you won't be able to see on the GoPro, but those pins are where the gap in the piston ring has to be, or it won't close all the way, and if it doesn't close all the way, it won't fit in the cylinder. So anyway, you can just put them on by hand. You just start one end and then you work it around. I don't know if I can do it one-handed, but anyway, I just started that one end. I'm just going to work it around with my hand. Give me a couple seconds when I get both hands here. And then I'm going to put that back on the paramotor until my new head gets here. Okay, so I just got my package from Aerolite. They had to order it from France. It was $209. Here's a quick picture of their website there. Just do aerolite.com, and it shows all these paramotor things that they sell. Let's see here. Do this. They've got all kinds of stuff. So they got Adventure Pluma, Pro Pulse, Titan, Canuck paramotors, air conception, paragliders and wings, trikes, frames, harnesses, reserves, and parachutes. Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff. They got Viterazzi, Polini, Corsair. They sell props, motors, helmets. Here's a little altimeter thing that they sell. It's kind of cool. Some other accessories and stuff. Yeah, I've ordered a few things from these guys in the past. I ordered a fuel tank, a pull start unit, and I ordered this head. So anyway, I thought I'd give them a shout out. It's airlight.com, and just Google that, and that's what pops up. Okay, here's the box. This little box came from France, right there, and it's got the head in it. I'm going to open it up, and I'll show you the head once I get it out of this box here. Okay, so here's the new head right here, and it actually came with the gasket in place, the new head gasket, and it's got a little arrow right here, pointing outwards right from this spot. That is interesting. I'm not 100% sure what the arrow is for. It obviously shows you which direction to mount it, which I wouldn't think would matter, but the fact that they put an arrow on there makes me think that it does. This one, however, does not have an arrow on it. This is the old head that has the two blown spots in it. Yeah. So anyway, new gasket already in place, so I didn't need to order the $9 gasket or whatever it was, but I have the other gasket as well. It came with this packaging here, bubble wrap, some foam in this box. I'll go ahead and prep the surface and start putting it together and get that on film. Got my torque wrench here set to 203 Newton meters, or 203 pounds, which is the correct amount of Newton meters, rather, for the head nuts. So I cleaned up the gasket area for the crankcase gasket. I used a razor blade, just very, very lightly, making sure I didn't gouge anything. And then I used a green scrub pad. This is the same kind of scrub pad I used with WD-40 to clean off the carbon buildup on the piston. But there's no WD-40 on this. This is just a regular pad. And then I'm going to go ahead and pop this thing back together. Here's the crankcase gasket. It just goes on. You can only put it on one way. It's got a little cutout here, so it's obvious which way it goes on. Put that on. Be careful, obviously. Piston, gotta move it out of the way. I'm gonna need two hands for this, but I'll show me putting the cylinder on and torquing that down here in a second. Okay, I got my camera set up here. Anyway, I'm going to try to get this on here. I got the gasket in place here, so now I'm going to put the cylinder on. It's got these rings. You could use a compressor, ring compressor, but I'm just going to try to use my fingers to get this started, and it should just stay in there. I'm hoping. Try to get everything lined up. And let's see. Gotta get. Oh boy. Wow. It's gonna. This is not easy. You gotta line up the bolt holes at the same time I'm putting the cylinder, piston in the cylinder. Interesting. It's a lot of stuff to line up at once. more difficult than I thought it would be. One thing, these holes don't even seem to line up. They got to, it came off of there. Holy moly. Okay, so I try to get the first ring on there. I should be trying to get all the rings on at once. What on earth? It seems doesn't even line up with this at all. Oh my gosh. Here, I am going to move. Here, I got an idea. I'm going to move the propeller to get the piston back a ways. And then that way, the piston moves back and forth on that pin. So now I can get this bolt started on here first. The bolts don't seem to line up with the holes. Ah, that's because I'm not putting the cylinder on correctly. I bet this needs to go down. Aha, okay. We're getting somewhere. Okay, I got that way back like that. Okay, so this needs to go down. The exhaust goes this way, not out this way. No wonder the holes weren't lining up. Can only go on one way. Alright, now if I just move the propeller to get the piston to go back out of the way a little. I'm going to actually move this way now. Cylinder's on it backwards too. Doing pretty good. Okay, there's that. Fifth time is the charm. Okay. We're getting somewhere. I'll just move that a little bit. Tricky. Oh, we gotta make sure that we gotta make sure the rings are lined up with their little pins. That one is, and now I had them lined up, but all this moving around, there we go. Okay, now, okay. Almost looks like I might have the first ring in place. Now for the second ring. I can't even believe it. It looks like I got her. Okay. I think so. One was slightly off. The second ring was slightly off. Oh boy. Huh. Okay. A little bit of that first one to catch. There we go. Now the second one. Got it. Yeah, getting those rings to go in is a little bit difficult. I can move the propeller for extra leverage, which is kind of cool. I can get that to get in there, which is kind of neat. And boy, oh boy, I really don't want. And the gasket seems to be hitting a little bit on this, which is, there we go. Got it. Piece of cake. Look at that nice new cylinder. Or, it's not a new cylinder. It's clean piston because I cleaned it. Okay, now I can put the head on. And it already has a gasket, so I don't need this gasket. I will need this exhaust gasket when I go do that. Here's the new head. I haven't researched yet which way this arrow needs to go, so I'm gonna have to research that before I put it on here. It either goes towards the exhaust or up. Those are really the two options, so I'll research it